Welcome back to my world, to Justin's world, and to Daniel's world. We're the Wandering Pilgrims, and we have so much more to discuss. We have not yet begun to obluviate, to opine, to discuss the nuances of this great and wonderful day that we're experiencing. I swear, Christmas came twice this year, and it wasn't even a chick I met at a late-night party. This is awesome. Donald Trump, President of the United States, no longer president-elect. He was not assassinated yet. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that one. Pray a lot. Jesus' name was invoked in the ceremony several times over. And the prayers, I didn't like how he was, changing the words to the Beatitudes. God blesses those who such and such. But okay, small inaccuracy. But all in all, it was a very solemn moment, something that I really appreciated because to me, it represents the turning of this corner for our nation in such a way, probably the most significant change of direction, especially for foreign policy that we've had in forever. So Sam Squamch is back on. Let's hear it, buddy. Tell me, is Trump going to give us the nuclear war that Hillary promised?
I don't think so. I don't think that he'll be pure on foreign policy necessarily, but I think that Hillary and the gang,
yeah,
they certainly were shooting for some kind of I don't know. It just they're being control freaks, and they wanted to get Russia and the gang and try to get them subjected to this agenda and everything. And I think that's probably why they were threatening and so forth. And I honestly don't think they'd have any qualms about starting something off. They might not necessarily want the whole world to be enveloped in nuclear clouds necessarily, but that would probably be the end game anyway. But they probably wanted to strike some fear and all that kind of thing. And what I was going to talk about is that this past year I've kind of come a long ways in understanding politics of our day. And part of that is just the revelation. The parties line up, like, a lot of the Republicans. Some of the Republicans went for Clinton, some went for the Libertarian Party. And
the Libertarian Party was on the ticket this year? There's this guy named Gary Johnson that was running, but I didn't see any Libertarians.
Clinton supporters. But you heard what Bill Weld said, right? Like, oh yeah, we definitely got to get behind Clinton here. I was like, are you serious? You're just sabotaging your own party? And like, he's obviously some kind of infiltrator. I mean, he's been, a statist for as long as anyone can remember. Like Rothbard used to be, real hard against him and everything, and thought he was just outrageous. I honestly think that Rothbard, Murray Rothbard probably would have been cheering on Trump. Just because he played the political game, and he would see whatever side had more of an inclination for liberty, and he would go toward them. And Walter Block has kind of picked that up, and he was actually kind of pro-Obama the first time around because he thought there would be less inclination toward war, and more so it was just less boots on the ground than it was because Obama's been pushing war this whole term.
His less whole 8-year term. I think he just redirected the boots. I think we have more boots on the ground right now, don't we?
Maybe so. I haven't looked too deep into it, but I guess the emphasis has been more on drones and stuff. At least the way the narrative, I guess you could say, at the very least. We don't really hear
how it's been framed. Yeah, I get totally what you're saying.
Yeah. But Walter Block thought that maybe he would be a little lighter on that, and he hasn't been. But this time around, and I'm not saying like this is necessarily the same thing that is going to happen. Like Trump will be the opposite of what he said, but because I don't think that's necessarily true. But he was for Trump this time, and he got called all sorts of things for that. Just basically saying people saying he's a flunky for the Republican Party or something, and it's like, no, look, Anyway, I don't want to get too far into someone else's position, but
right, we can all be honest and recognize that Trump said whatever it took to win. He just happened to say the right things. That he is the master of hyperbole. So, like, he didn't say anything that was just outright wrong. He just did what a New York, Chicago businessman does in intense negotiations. He oversells his product. You know, that's what he consistently does, is he oversells, and people buy it up because everyone loves the narcissist. And nobody's denying that he's a narcissist. I think you almost kind of have to be a narcissist to be a president.
I think, yeah, I think you know, narcissist label gets used a little bit too often. I think he's an egoist. I don't know if you would say he's a narcissist, because I think he does kind of care about people.
Okay, you have a point there, because yeah, with the narcissist, there's a level of disconnection, and you know,
yeah.
I don't think he really looks down his nose at people. I think he knows his station in life, but at the same time, I think he enjoys being around common people a lot more than he likes being around the sharks that he normally swims.
Oh yeah. Oh, I definitely see that. And the thing for me was to step aside from what the freaking media was cramming down my throat, and even libertarians were kind of buying into it a little bit, because, you know, there's been this dogma that both sides are equally bad. But the thing is, what I was trying to get to was that they all sided up against him, and that kind of like should be a hint there that something weird is going on here, something new.
If I wasn't a Trump supporter before, I would have been at that point.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, and I don't think that you can judge a person just by their opposition, but some of the things he was saying, like audit the Fed, and like some of these things were one-offs, like, but repealing regulation and just different things like that. And there's some things I definitely don't agree with him on, but I think that there's, given the climate we're in, and like what you were saying earlier about we're so far off from anarchy, it gets to a point of desperation where you see just the violence and everything all around you, and it's like, it feels like there's no political solution sometimes, and you start to just grab onto anything you can. If it's just a floating piece of lumber out in the open sea, you know, that thing's not going to save you, but at least it'll keep you alive for the time being, until, you know, a boat will come around to save your ass. You know,
right.
and
it might even carry you a little way on your journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or just like maybe a sort of rundown boat or something like that. But I think.
But what did you think of what he said during his inaugural speech? Johnny said best inaugural speech ever. I really agree with him. I mean, we all knew that he was a populist from the very beginning, but he's sitting there doing what Julius Caesar was doing. I mean, this is Julius Caesar 101. You know, this is your victory. This is your nation, and I'm only here to serve you. I pledge allegiance to the American people. I mean, I had goosebumps, honestly. I'm not ashamed to admit I had freaking goosebumps. It's been a long time since I've been proud to be an American, and that was a moment for me.
Yeah. Two things. I don't want to get too far on this one note. I'm going to.
Okay, so I know you only have so much time, so take it wherever you got to go.
I don't, while I don't, even to my heart, I don't believe in the myth of the nation state. They were very inspiring words as far as uniting us and, casting down divisions and so forth. And I agree with some of what you're saying about, a lot of this is an organic sort of thing. We're saluting the organic people of the United States of America, and it's not so much. I think there's some of that mimetic consensus going on toward the nation state, but I don't think it's.
But he'll focus more on the individual more than your average politician would.
Okay, here's the thing on economics. Libertarians will say that like nobody in political office will do good, but what about some have even gone on to say that like the former Ron Paul supporters would say, oh, like he would have not been able to do very much good in office either. But I mean, you have to look at human action is strictly speaking unpredictable from an Austrian economics perspective. You don't know exactly what people do. You can know the incentives of the system. The incentives of the government system is for corruption to exist and for people to do what's against the perceived best interest of most people. But that doesn't mean that someone has to
on all levels, even down to the welfare, and food stamps and all that. And
so, that doesn't mean someone has to necessarily follow those incentives once they get in the office, because, so let's say, someone who already has as far as the motivation to greed, someone already has like all the money in the world. And as far as the motivation to power, someone already, has like had kind of a lot of influence and power, not necessarily coercive power, but they've had a lot of influence over people and control over an organization. And so it doesn't give them as much of a high. So it's like someone like that, maybe that's the kind of perfect storm for someone to actually be more responsive, someone who has been responsive in his career as a businessman. He's had to, and he's had to be as accommodating as possible in building these hotels for customers, just everyday people. And he has had to learn how to do that for decades. And so, maybe this is the best guy to be more responsive to the American people, and maybe we'll get a reprieve. And the other thing I was going to mention is that one of the other things that kind of turned my sentiment a little bit was actually seeing a couple of these prophecies. And actually, it's very odd that the big one, Mark Taylor's, he said that he got this in 2011. It's so funny. I at first I just wrote the whole thing off. I thought that this stuff was just coming out this past year, and it was just like bull hockey and another stupid little fake prophecy about political leaders and blah, 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 it's all the same. But come to find out, this guy had written this in 2011. He says, and so even if you don't believe that, the YouTube video of his interview with, I think it was True News, it came out this past spring, and a lot of that stuff that he mentioned hadn't come to pass yet, about basically all this backlash against him and all this corruption being revealed, like not even a tenth of that corruption had been revealed by that time, and everybody being against him and everything like that. And it's just amazing how all that became fulfilled. And there was another one, and Matthew Lewis looked into the archives of the website of what's the guy's name? Shoot, I can't remember Kim Clement. He had a prophecy, and he said Trump will become a Trump, and he will put the nation back on course, basically. And that was back in several years ago. I don't remember what the year was now off the top of my head, but Matthew looked at the archive and everything, verified that that's when it came out and everything. And no one even imagined that Trump would be running at the point. I think it was even before 2012, when he first was throwing around the idea and publicly. So anyway, some of these things, and I was like, wow, well, maybe there is a good real comparison to King Cyrus. He let the Israelites go back to Jerusalem and build their temple, and
named it before he was even born.
Yeah. So we look at you're talking about the nation of Israel and everything. God can use corruption or corrupt structures, and He can use it for good, and He can incline people's hearts. And there's a proverb that says God guides a king's heart like someone guides a stream, like redirecting the stream. And it seems like Trump has been experimenting a lot. He just I'm going to throw this idea out there and see what what the reaction is and everything of the people, not the media, but people broadly, and see how it's reflected back to me. And he's kind of movable in that way, and it's very interesting. So those are my thoughts on the possibility.
Yeah, that's how the whole ban on Muslim immigration started. It was at this one singular rally where he said, we have this extremism coming from these Muslim nations. They're Muslims crying Allahu Akbar. What do we do about it? I don't know. Maybe we should stop letting them in for a while. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? Yeah, I remember that specific speech, and it's like, yeah, he's looking to test the waters, not in the same. Now, Hillary Clinton would do this in a much more subversive way. She would very much key in on people's fears and people's hopes and feed them like they're candy. Whereas Trump is trying to make a deal. He's like, okay, what are we going to do? This is the problem. What do you think? How should we handle this?
No.
Is it feasible? Okay, we'll do something about it. We'll put that into action.
Yeah.
And that's why, you see on his cabinet, you see people, A, that tend to be hostile towards the agencies that they'll be heading, B, you see a large variety of political ideologies in his.
Yeah.
It's very tailored to each position.
And you know what's funny?
And the last thing I was gonna say is, you see a lot of people that you would not expect to be in that position, like Ben Carson for HUD.
Mark Taylor, one of the things he said is that Trump was going to put together a dream team of people, and I was like,
oh damn, did he? Oh yeah.
It was so crazy. It's so weird how, something that, I've seen that, and it's not just my ideology. I've seen the corruption in the system, but like to see something play out like this, and to see that God is trying to do something regardless of what we throw at him, what we give to him. Kind of like with the Israelites, what you're talking about, God gave them religion of the nose, and they were taking, their paganism, they were throwing it up to God or against God, or however you want to look at it, and God was like, you know what, I'm going to take this and I'm going to take you in the right direction, away from it, away from the corruption of this kind of.
This is so excellent. I did finish Heiser's book. You really do need to read it, because it will bring a lot of things that you haven't considered before. Have you considered that Satan is Baal? That Baal is Satan, Satan is Baal?
I think he did mention that before. I haven't looked too deeply into it. But.
I'm pretty convinced of it. And the cool thing about this is you see the language of the Old Testament, all about God basically taking all the roles that Baal and Ashtoreth, not Ashtoreth, Baal. There was another one too, where he was claiming his own sacred place as his own. Like Baal was said to be the god of the storm riding on the clouds. Well, that's what we hear described in Psalms of Yahweh. We hear about Mount Hermon belonging to Baal. Well, God calls it his own holy mountain. It's just over and over again, you see this competition of identities between Yahweh and Baal throughout the Old Testament. Real funny cross reference here that really blew my mind when it dawned on me. I don't know if I'm right about this. Okay, and I've said from the very beginning that Islam was spawned from the moon cult devoted to Ishtar, who was the goddess of heaven, the queen of the king of the gods. Who king of the gods was? Baal.
Wow.
And okay, so we have Ishtar and Baal, or Ashtoreth as she's called in the Old Testament. Ishtar and Baal being the sun and the moon, the competition to Yahweh, and now you have Israel going after them, and like I said, this competition of identities, and then comes Islam.
Yeah.
So there was something. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I would like to get more in depth into that.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to throw that in as an aside. I'm sorry. I've been doing it a bit. We're gonna have a show about that. Is what we're gonna do.
Yeah. There was a video I did yesterday in the Winter Pilgrims group about it's hard for Satan to use Christianity because of the heart of it, and to oppress people for too long, and to get people to buy into manipulative structures, because the heart of it is like the victim that everybody went after and put to death has been revealed to be innocent. Not only that, he's God. So it's kind of hard for Satan to just like go after victims constantly. People are like, well, wait a second. Remember that victim we put to death like 2,000 years ago? That was so he was actually kind of innocent, and he turned out to be God. So what about these people? Like, should we treat others as ourselves? And so it's kind of like, he can corrupt Christianity to an extent, but not to the same extent. And he has to use other ideologies to get people to buy into. And yeah. I don't know where else I was going to go with all this stuff, but
do you think Trump is a modern day Samson?
Someone, was it David or someone was talking about, or who it was?
David Ganowski is one of them. Dan Beverly is another one. They've both mentioned the thought. I think, and I don't want to take credit if I don't deserve it, but I think I'm the one who floated the idea first, if I remember correctly. But it could have been David.
Yeah, I see some parallels there. I mean, another thing I said was that,
he's definitely not squeaky clean.
Yeah. The other thing I said was that I think his faults are more just ordinary human faults, and the faults of the other side that has been opposed to him is like more of the dark forces, like, and there might be like a dark spirit pitching along on his ride, but it's mostly he's just like a regular human regular human faults. You know.
I very much like to think of spirits as being akin to information. Not really, but a spirit is an inclination. Maybe that would be a better way of saying it. An attitude, an idea. And I think when it comes to flaws, the left is deeply ideologically flawed. Their spirit is deeply flawed. Whereas when it comes to the right, just like life was meant to be balanced, masculine and feminine, and that's what I see the right-left divide as being the right's masculine energy, the left is primarily feminine energy, and so with the right, you can overbalance, have too much masculine energy and not enough compassion, not enough art, not enough elegance, not enough subtlety to things, and it becomes a broadsword sweeping through the nation. So I very much see a wonderful harmony of balance with both the left and the right functioning, but unfortunately the left has embraced an ideology that is so deeply flawed as I can't just overlook it. I can compromise with a lot of capitalistic principles. I can compromise with a lot of even fascist principles, even communist principles. What I cannot compromise is identity politics. I cannot compromise on the war for culture. I can't compromise on the freedom of expression, religion, association. These are things I can't compromise on, and the left has picked their side, and it's unfortunate because we need, in this kind of a system, we do need both the right and the left. It can't. If the right gets all the power, we're screwed there too, because that's what happened when Hitler came into power.
Maybe it speaks to the left should be in subjection to the right. The parallel typology, it matters. I'm telling you. That's something I would definitely have to unpack, because that could be easily misunderstood.
I can unpack it as simply as this: female, know your role. No, anyone who knows me knows that yes, I'm very much into patriarchy, but at the same time, I'm very much not a totalitarian. Every decision in this house is filtered through negotiation. I apply the non-aggression principle even in my own home. And I have a baby at the door.
Nice. I was going to point out that even some of the people who are big on, like, the kind of more traditional roles, or like complementarian outlook, like men and women have different roles. Like a couple of them, like you and Stefan Molyneux, are like actually stay-at-home dads. So it's like, well, I don't think that these people were like just being oppressive, when they say that. I mean,
we're definitely, me and Stefan are both very progressive. Obviously, we're not stuck in yesterday, but there are some things about yesterday that were good ideas. I wish that we could still have a family wage rather than just a living wage. They're all shooting for a living wage. Why can't there be a single breadwinner and a single homemaker? Why can't we have that anymore? No, I like those things. I like gender roles like that because it makes life better.
Yeah. Some of the strongest women I know have been homemakers, and my wife wants to be homemaker, and like probably most women want to be homemakers. I mean, that's just like, it makes sense from just the biological standpoint. Women are the ones who give birth. It's more convenient. They're more nurturing.
They have that more direct connection, really.
Yeah.
When we come down to it.
Anyway, I have to go, but it's been awesome, and I got a lot of my thoughts out there. So.
Well, glad. I'm glad we could hop back on. We gotta pick. He says hi, baby.
Cutie. Hi, cutie.
Yeah, I'll give you like 30 seconds here. Speak to Justin.
Hi. How's it going?
Hi.
She just woke up, so she's not really talking.
Oh, okay. Hello, little kids.
Hello.
You and my wife both.
Hello.
Hey, Daniel's there. Maybe me and Daniel will keep talking a little after you get off. But So we got to set aside some time to talk about some stuff in the near future where you're not on break. Tell Amy I'll paint her toes for her.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Can we see mommy? Go see mommy. Mommy's sleeping behind me. So Daniel, are you needing to get work done, or you want to have some conversation?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So yeah, that's good. We can have that be our end. I was gonna do this in case you had. I was gonna do this in case we had technical difficulties and stuff. So I guess the way I'll end the broadcast, I'll play the song. A lot of people might not realize this, but the one that we picked for our theme song was one that I wrote. So this is the Hands in Your Head, and it's our theme song because it's all about, hey, don't tell me how to think.
But this has to pull no matter what. Just get up.
Never find me on a path by another couplet, by the hints of wisdom whispered, willful but submitted. They hide beside me, they're so by the enemy of truth. Proof nothing wanting waits but hates, the shadow of a hopeless fate. I will always be here waiting, so that you wait the last of your weary will yank your chain on your heart, stealing choices, voices, poison with their hands in your head. So that you wait the last of your weary will yank your chain on your heart, stealing choices, voices, poison with the hands in your head. With the hands in your head. With the hands in your head. Get them hands out of your head. Think for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you what to think, because you got this. Goodbye and good luck.